Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Enjoying Life's Journey. So I wanted to try something a little different. I'm going to go to last week's budget video. I had quite a few positive comments, thank you guys very much, and I had some questions, so I thought that it would be fun to kind of go through and address them here at the beginning of this video, and then I'm going to go into the quarterly budget. So last week I showed you how I budgeted out the entire year. I mentioned that Ricky was waiting to be hired on permanently with the company in which he would be pursuing the career of pipe fitting and eventually pipe fitting or welding, pipe welding or something like that. So he has officially been brought on to that company and he got a raise with that. So I want to show you this quarter how it has differed a little bit from what I showed you over the whole year, and then also kind of see how the quarter goes. So you guys are used to me doing like quarterly. I'm going to do my quarterly budget still with you guys, and I'm still going to do my monthly reviews with you. Alright, so let's jump in. So I'm on last week's video. Like I said, it was my yearly budget, so I kind of showed you how you could budget out the whole year. I also recommended that just use your base pay. Don't do your overtime or anything like that, just so you can see where you're truly at, where your true numbers are at. So I'm going to go ahead and come on down to the comments for you guys. So Mrs. T is going debt-free. Awesome. She says, like following your budget journey, hope this comes across well. That something else I like is that you guys don't make a lot, showing budgeting more realistic for everyone and not just those that make several thousands a month. Thanks for sharing. Exactly. So yes, we are a one-income family. We're considered a low-income family. However, we're not going to be staying in the bracket that we're at. We have been working extremely hard over the last couple years to get out of debt and kind of change our habits with money and our mindset about money. And, you know, we did travel last year for about 6 months in the RV, and that allowed Ricky to also decide that he wanted to choose a different career path. So with his career path, he will be making significantly a lot more than you've seen in the past. So you guys have been joining us, so you're going to see how we go from being a low income family and how we're gradually going to get out of that. But I do like to share real numbers with you guys specifically for that reason, so you can see that we're a real family and we're working Dave Ramsey's steps and we're doing it. And then in response to Mrs. T's comment, we had some other comments as well. Everyday Home Life says, yes, same. I can relate much more to someone making a lower income a month than someone making thousands. I like seeing how they make it work. Yes, I'm not sure how much you guys all make or if you do any type of budgets or videos, but I guess I would be curious to see how we compare to each other. And then Yo Yeah says, agreed. And then Colors of Avon, Leslie says, ditto. I love how you manage your budget so well. Thank you, you guys. Coffee has a great point that they bring up here. It says, your rent is more than 50% and still going to increase. I would try to get something cheaper if it's consuming half of my resources. Absolutely agree with you. When we jump on to our revised budget, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as far as how I'm not really concerned about that right now. And the biggest thing is, yes, if you're living somewhere that's consuming half of your income and you have no intention to raise your income, then yes, you might want to start looking around. In our situation, our necessities are basically down to the bare minimum and down to what we feel comfortable with. So now from here, it's working towards raising our income. So I'll talk a little more as well when we jump into the budget. Angela says, you are doing a great job. My husband and I have found ourselves homeless in Las Vegas and struggling every day to keep our heads above water. I find your videos inspiring and plan to follow this template if we can ever get ourselves out of this situation. So I'm kind of emotional for Angela here. You know, we were homeless at the beginning of last year, so I can totally relate to what she's going through. Angela, all I can say is, yes, get on a budget. Even if you think you're not making anything, you need to kind of look at everything in a big picture. You know, what are the bare minimum necessities that you're going to need to get out of it? You know, what are you guys working? Are you looking for work? I do recommend looking at temp agencies. Ricky went to People Ready, which is also, I think, known as Labor Ready or something like that. So look for those types of jobs just to get you out of where you're at, and it may lead into something better, like it led Ricky into something better. So definitely, try to find some temp agencies in the area that would be willing to work with you. Get on the budget and do all that, even if you're not out of the situation, because that's going to help you get a handle on your money in a sense that you're going to see where it's at. And it's going to be a little bit of a rude awakening, but sometimes we have to do it. I'm not sure if you requested the budget template or not. If you want the budget template, and you have access to a computer, then go ahead and email me privately on here or on our Facebook page. And then Colors of Avon also chimed in, said, best wishes to you and your husband. Focus on just getting your income up at first. Side hustles have helped me, like Postmates, Instacart, and Uber Eats. So yeah, so great tips, Leslie. Thank you for sharing those. And then Yo Yeah says, like your template. Yo Yeah. Wow, try Progressive for car insurance. Yeah, I may look into them. I like our car insurance company right now. Our insurance has actually, we used to be with Geico, and now we're with a different company. Our insurance has gone down from one company to the next, so we have lowered our insurance slightly, but if it doesn't hurt to shop around. And then our last comment for this one is Somax Energy, I believe. Is that typical for rent in your area? In my area, you could buy a house for a smaller monthly payment through our rent, though our rents are just as high as yours. Even if your credit score is not good enough to get a regular mortgage, you can buy a house on a rent-to-own basis. Usually there is a low down payment also. Yes, those are options out there. They are not necessarily the right fit for us. We are following Dave Ramsey's 7 baby steps. So we are about to start baby step 4, basically 4, 5, and 6, which we'll be working kind of simultaneously. He also encourages that if you cannot pay cash for a house, if you cannot take the time to save up to pay cash, to save a significant amount of money down so you're able to do a 15-year mortgage instead of a 30-year mortgage. So that's kind of the direction that we are headed. As far as your question about rent, that is typical in the for our area. We're in a good central location. So some of the rents here are actually higher than ours. Some of the complexes around us are $1,000 for a studio apartment, and we're in a 2-bedroom apartment. So yeah, that's typical around our area. We could try to find something cheaper, but it would be way too far out. Ricky's commute would double, so you weigh it out, it wouldn't really make any sense. So thank you guys for all of your comments and your questions. I hope I addressed them for you guys, and I'm going to jump into my quarterly budget. Alright, so we're on the budget now. This is January, so if you saw last week's video, some of my numbers have changed. I have a lot going on here. And the biggest thing is, like I mentioned, Ricky was officially brought on to the company that he's been trying to get on. So he's super excited. I am so proud of him. He's come so far. So last week when we did our yearly budget, his base pay was $14.20 an hour. He is now making $16 an hour as a pipe fitter apprentice. So once he finishes his training and passes any exams, if he needs to get a certificate or anything like that, once he's done with that, then he'll be officially a pipe fitter. So his pay will bump up to $24. Now, is that going to happen, in the next 6 months or the next year? I don't know. It's really up to him and the company he works for how fast they push that along. From there, he wants to move into pipe fitting, the welding aspect of it, which they make up to $40 an hour or something like that. So now he's making $16 an hour. The other thing is they're working a ton of overtime right now. They're doing 6 10-hour shifts. So I want to show you how I'm going to kind of account for that here in a minute. So they're doing 6 10-hour shifts, so he's having 40 hours at $16 an hour, and then he's going to have 20 hours at $24 an hour, time and a half. So like I mentioned, we show you real life what is going on and the progress that we've made. Before we hit the road, before we started traveling in the RV, Ricky was working at Goodwill. He had been with Goodwill for 7 years. By the time he left, he started at $7.25 an hour back in 2009, and by the time he left, he was only making $11.25. So that was kind of a wake-up call for him that he needed a change. So we hit the road, and we kind of just, had some fun with it, and we did the sugar beet harvest, which got him introduced to a different type of work. He enjoys working with his hands. So when we got back here and he started working for People Ready doing construction jobs, he had the chance to work in a different types. He did a little bit of landscaping, he did a little bit of painting and framing, he did a little bit of demo, he did a little bit of the pipe fitting helper. So he started getting a feel for what was out there within the construction realm, and he really fell in love with the pipe fitting. So that's calling him, that's what he's moving towards, and so I'm so proud of him for doing that. Myself, I have officially started a business that I have not shared too much with you guys, but it is a travel related business. I am basically specializing in group cruises with events at sea, but basically cruises, helping people book and plan and do everything with their cruises. So I am actually working with a host agency now, so hopefully you guys will start to see that, that I'm going to have some income coming in as well. Changes, big changes, super excited. So basically for this month, what we've changed, the checks that we've actually got, that's the amounts that we actually got. What's in red is what is budgeted. So this is Ricky's base pay, estimated base pay, the new $16 an hour. Also what changed was he was getting paid on Fridays. Now he's going to be getting paid on Wednesdays. So January turned into a 5 paycheck month. So that really helped us. The biggest change you're going to see for January is down here in my mom's plane ticket. So you guys have been following the channel. I have some issues with my kidney. It's blocked due to a stricture in my ureter. So I'm having a major reconstructive surgery coming up. So I'm flying my mom out from Michigan to help me take care of the girls and help take care of me for 6 weeks. So originally we were going to buy her plane ticket out of our savings account, and now we're able to just budget it right in here. It's going to be between $250 and $300, so we're able to budget it right into our budget without touching our savings account. So that is a huge plus there. We have opened up more bank accounts. T. Harv Eggert, if you guys follow, I mentioned his percentage goals over here. We have our goals of what percentages go to which area. He recommends that everyone should have at least 7 different accounts, and that you distribute the money appropriately. So we have a few more accounts that we opened up. So now this is our main income account. We have a necessities account, a fun account, Ricky's own account, my own account, and then we have 3 different savings accounts. So we have 8 accounts total now. So we're going to transition between moving funds from one account to the next. So what we have here, I told you before, these are basically my categories for balancing my checkbook. So this is just so I can balance each account. So for right now, our necessities, the ones in purple are the funds I have at the new bank. The ones in blue are at the old bank. So once everything clears, we'll be closing the old account and getting rid of that one. So the other thing I added onto the side of my budget here, like I mentioned, Ricky is going to be, he's working overtime. So these are the estimated amounts that he'll make for the overtime of working those 6 10-hour days. So what's green, those are days that he has already worked the overtime. So he's on Friday right here, and then they're supposed to be working tomorrow, Saturday. So you guys, look, it's amazing that he's working his butt off, and I appreciate it so much. This is his base pay at 16. So with the overtime, he should be making $9.52. So for those of you who said, the people that are making thousands of dollars per paycheck, I'm sorry, but for a little while, we may be in that category as well. But you guys can always see how, we're improving our situation. The other thing I've done is I've added a whole separate budget for my business now. So I have all of the sources of income I have, and then all of these. I'm not going to go over this with you guys because that's not the point of the video. I just wanted to show what I've changed. And then within the business, I have 5 different accounts. I have my income account, our profit account, my owner's compensation account, our taxes, and then operating expenses. So that's what I've changed since doing my yearly budget. I'm going to jump onto February for you guys to give you a more kind of a look into what's going to be kind of more realistic, I guess you can say. So as you can see, we went ahead and budgeted Ricky's base pay for 40 hours at $16 an hour, so I've updated the amount. And then we have here our goal. So this is the goal percent that we're trying to get to. It may not happen through the whole year, but we're working quarter by quarter, percent by percent. We're just working towards it. So these are the things that we have going on here. So long-term savings, emergency fund, down payment for a house, Ricky's motorcycle, things like that will be considered this long-term savings. For February, we're going to be able to save 10% of our income, which was the goal. Our freedom savings, so now we are reaching baby step 4. So baby step 4 of Dave Ramsey's baby steps is to start investing in your retirement funds. So we are actually going to just start putting these into a savings account. The new bank that we're with has a pretty good savings account. It's 1.25% interest that you earn on it. So we're going to start putting our money into there until we reach $3,000. Once we reach $3,000, we'll be able to open a Roth IRA and start investing in our first mutual fund. That's roughly we've been seeing those prices around. 2.5% towards business. So this is for me to upgrade. I want to upgrade a laptop, things like office supplies, things that I might need for the business. So these two, the business and the freedom savings, are considered our financial freedom. So we have 5% going to that. Our goal is 10%, so we'll get there slowly. And then personal development, the goal is 10%, so 5% each, and we're going to be able to do 2.5% each. This is for myself. I'm going to be going to a conference for the travel industry later this year. As well, I am, every quarter I'll be purchasing different business and finance related books. And then Ricky is books that he needs for pipe fitting, as well as any special tools that he needs. Giving, our goal is 5%. We're going to be able to do 2.5%. And we're just going to put it as gifts for now. It's all going into a savings account, and then it will be dispersed to either charities or birthday, Christmas gifts, things like that. So our necessities. Our goal is to have our necessities only 55% of our income. At Ricky's base pay, it will be 75% of our income. Like you guys had mentioned, our rent was, January we had some short hours, so our rent was coming across to being like half of our income. I do want to clarify that our rent is $890, and then we pay $60 for water, and it's just combined as one bill. And again, I mentioned this earlier that that's average for the area that we're in. So we're really not looking to lower our rent. We're looking to increase our income. Everything is pretty much standard. Our renter's insurance $16.25. I'm sure we could find another company to lower that, so that could be something that we'll be working on. Groceries, we're just doing $2.90.15 for this month. Personal care, this is things like toothpaste, makeup, things like that, 15%, because I'm totally out of all my makeup. Household, paper towels, sponges, things like that. Cell phone, $65. Half of this will actually be moved to the business. My cell phone is going to become the business cell phone, so that's going to be moved over. You notice we don't have internet. That is a business expense. Our electricity, we're budgeting $60 just because that's what our electricity was last time. Car gas, we're budgeting $125. Ricky is working a little bit farther out than he was, so we may have to adjust that. So we'll kind of keep you guys posted on what we do. Car insurance is $95.25. So that's our necessities. And then fun, our goal is to be able to save or to spend 10% on fun. We're going to be able to do 2.5%. And we're going to count this, we're going to start counting this more as just family fun. So we may be taking out our pocket monies and our drinks. That would be for me and Ricky, and we move them up to our own accounts. So we'll kind of see how that goes. And then I'll just show you what I did again over here. Estimated Ricky's overtime. He mentioned they're going to be doing 6 10-hour days for about 2 weeks, and then they're going to start doing 7 10-hour days. So if that, once he starts working on the Sunday, then I will add Sunday up at the top here. So this is what happens in the field that he's in. When they're in a certain project, whether it's the beginning of the project or the end of the project, they tend to get a lot of overtime because they're trying to just bust out a lot of work. So there's a good chance he might have 2 months of a ton of overtime, and then it may kind of even back out, and then he might have more overtime. So we're going to have to just see how that plays itself out. So that's why we're only budgeting the base pay, and then we can add, we'll adjust our budget every week accordingly. So that's what February is going to look like, and then March is going to, we're basically just budgeting out the exact same numbers as far as paying ourselves, giving. The difference is in our necessities. Instead of doing personal care and household, we're putting that money towards car maintenance will be due for an oil change. So you guys can kind of see how we move numbers around. So if you're not familiar with how I do my budgets or this whole color coding and all of that, go ahead and watch last week's video, my year in review, and I kind of go over what everything is, and then I go over the template that I made for you guys if you guys want to do something similar. But yeah, so that's the quarter. That's where what we're shooting for this quarter. And then when we get into the second quarter of the year, we will be adjusting our percents. We're going to try to raise all of these other percents by at least 1% and then lower our necessities down a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. Also, like I said, once Ricky's overtime is accounted for, then those of you who are worried about our rent being half of our income, our rent will actually only be about 25% of our income. So as you can see, if you make more money, your necessity ratio will go down, or you cut necessities. Those are basically your two options. Make more money or cut necessities. Like I mentioned, we've kind of cut everything as low as we feel comfortable going. We're not going to try to nickel and dime anything else. We're good with what we have, and we're just going to focus on, you know, Ricky's career and my business and growing. And so I'm excited. I want to thank all of you guys who have been watching our journey over these many years. I believe we started our debt-free journey in 2014. We officially became debt-free. February will be 2 years that we are officially debt-free, and we've managed to stay debt-free despite getting in a car accident, becoming homeless, losing the RV, and all of that stuff. So I am super proud of us. I am really proud of my husband, and I'm excited for what is to come. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments, or if you have any comments, leave them in the comments, and I'll be sure to share them with everybody. Next week, I'll do another budget video. Maybe we'll do a recap on last week. We'll see how maybe we'll do a weekly budget. For sure, though, I will be doing at least a monthly budget review with all of you, and then we'll be doing our quarterly budgets as well. So you can at least plan on indefinitely at least 2 budget videos a month. I do want to start talking about some other finance related videos because we are also working some other areas that Dave Ramsey is talking about as far as getting our affairs or our estate in order. So I want to talk a little bit about that. I'm getting ready. I got to pick up Arcadia early from school. I have a doctor's appointment that I am following up from the procedure I had done last week, and then I had a CAT scan done on Tuesday. So I'm going to do a live health update for you guys on Sunday. If I do a live stream on Sunday, it's going to be later in the afternoon. It won't be in the morning because I have a business breakfast with my best friend Heather. She owns her own landscape design business. She's been in business a while. She opened her business about a year before I opened my dance studio, and then I had my dance studio for 3 years, and she's still going strong. So her and I are getting back together, and we're going to start doing a quarterly goal setting and a goal accountability meeting for each other's businesses. So we did one last quarter, so we're going to meet up again and see how we did. Heather's been in a few of my videos. She was in a lot of my hiking videos. We went to Havasu Falls together. We've been best friends since high school, so it's really cool to both be on be entrepreneurs and to be able to confide in each other, which is really cool. If you guys have any questions, if you have any comments, leave them down below. I'll be sure to share them on the next finance video. I'm wishing all of you the best of luck this year, and I'll see you soon. Bye!